Okay, everybody, how you doing? This is another version of The Buzz. Lauren Plant, Tom Markowski. We're giving you our regional football playoff predictions. And again, who knows how these will actually turn out. But Tom does have some knowledge in this, and whether his record shows it or not, I think he does know what he's talking about. At least that's what we pay him for. Okay, we're going to go through Division 4.
I didn't get a check one week because I was 4 and 6.
Right, yeah. We're going to get through Division 4 and 5 here. We'll pair these together. 1, 2, and 3 we did separately, which you can watch also here at statechampsnetwork.com. Let's quickly go through it. We've got a top matchup, Whitehall and Grand Rapids South Christian.
You know, Whitehall. Come on.
Yeah.
I got to go with South Christian.
Yeah.
As John Wassink really played well. And look at South Christian for example. They stumbled out of the blocks. They did not play well the first 2 weeks. Haven't lost since. Wassink had like over 300 yards rushing last week.
Yeah.
I think they're moving. I think they're going to go to the state championship game. And Whitehall, it's a beautiful town. I've been there. If you've ever been there, go there during the summertime. It's right kind of a little cove there. That and Montague are kind of like sister cities there.
Yeah, it is really, really nice.
Montague's had some really good success winning state titles.
Yes.
But Whitehall, no. This won't be a close game.
Yeah, South Christian is just a program that is just in a cycle right now that, again, with Wassink back this year is what made the difference.
Sure. You got that leader out there that puts up those points and those yards.
Yeah, I think when it's all said and done, I think South Christian is the team to beat, period, in Division 4.
It could be.
Yeah. Let's get over quickly to Eaton Rapids and Edwardsburg.
Kind of an interesting matchup. Eaton Rapids has only given up 12 points a game this year, playing a decent conference in the Lansing area.
Edwards were putting up a lot of points per game.
The Eddies are just scoring like 44 a game, just blowing up points, scoring 50, 60 points sometimes.
Yeah.
An interesting contrast, but I think Edwardsburg's a little bit better, just the way they played consistently over the season. So I'm going to go with the
being at home and the fact that they can put a lot of points on the boards. That usually spells victory, so we'll see on that one. Detroit Country Day, a surprising Detroit Country Day team this season. We didn't quite know really who they were for a while. 7-4, but here they are back in the regional finals at Chelsea. Chelsea back in the mix. First time we really talked about them since the Nick Hill days. Yeah,
and Brad Bush, the coach there, I talked to him before the season or the playoffs started, and he even said then, he says, I don't know, we probably have Country Day, down the road. It's like, wow. Looking all the way there,
yeah, okay.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
You should be doing this.
Yeah, right.
Anyways,
they were just, what you said, 2-7 last year.
Right, yeah. And they really, if you look at their record since like late 90s, they make the playoffs every year.
Every year, yep.
But they really don't make that next step. This is one game they always have trouble winning, is the regional final.
Yes.
And you look at Country Day, we all know that they've made a number of state final appearances. And granted, they've been 5-4. I mean, Hudsonville went in at 5-4. The heck, nobody cares what your record is at this time. It's just how well you're playing. In Country Day, they did have a couple of breathers in the playoffs, but the 4 losses they had during the regular season are to 4 teams that are combined 44-0. One is Brother Rice, the other Loyola, who a lot of people think will win state titles out of those 2 schools. So there's nothing really bad about Country Day's record, and when you lose to schools like that. So I'm going to go with Country Day, and that game, I think they're just a little more seasoned at this time.
Yeah, I remember filming Chelsea and Inkster in the regional, Devin Gardner's senior year, and Chelsea was not able to get to the semifinals on that one. That was Nick Hill's senior year as well. He ran back the opening kick of the second half for a touchdown, but again that day, Devin Gardner and Inkster, it was freezing cold, it was sleet, it was so bitter. I don't think it'll be quite that cold, but Country Day is a team that regionals and semifinals, traditionally, they dominate. Yeah. It's the finals that they've been really flat over the last several years, so I expect them to win here, but I think it will be close. You have them by 4, and that sounds about right. I think that sounds about right. Richmond at Lansing Sexton, and what can you say about the Big Reds except they're big, and they've got some bulls.
And they're another team that loves to run the ball, and they spread it, too, to run the ball. And they're a team made for this time of year. Last year, they lost in the semis to Marine City. I think this is perfect for Lansing Sexton to get to the finals. One, they're playing. I don't think Richmond is a quality opponent as Sexton has faced during much of the season. You have to understand, Richmond coming out of the Blue Water area, they're playing teams like Almont, who's still playing.
Right. K-Pac.
K-Pac,
Yep.
Yale.
Yep.
And Lansing Sexton comes out of a league that's basically all Class A schools.
Yeah.
Okemos, Grand Ledge, Holt, Lansing Everett. These are all
East
very
Lansing.
good programs. And here's a D4 team beating up on those teams. They did have a close game against Lansing Everett.
Right.
But other than that, I think Grand Ledge gave them a game too. But other than that, they really blew through people.
Including last week.
I had a chance to see them in the first game against East English, who was a very good team this year, losing to De La Salle last week, and that was a 9-point game. So that was a tight game over at Wayne State. I just see Sexton. I don't even think they'll have trouble next week. They will play the winner of Country Day, Chelsea. I'm definitely taking Sexton in that game.
So we could see a Sexton Grand Rapids South Christian final, which would be a doozy.
Yes, I think that
would be solid.
Two solid programs and probably the two best teams in D4.
All right, quickly in D5, Reed City at Grand Rapids West Catholic.
That's too bad. Reed City's had a string of good years in basketball and football. They've had some good athletes. They always seem to have good track teams, good cross-country teams too. And they're good for that part of the state if you know where they're located, just north of Big Rapids. But coming down to West Catholic, that's too much. West Catholic
11-0.
West Catholic could win D4. I mean,
yeah, right.
They really could if you put them in there against a Lansing, against a Sexton team or even a South Christian team. I could see them winning that game. So I don't see any problem here with West Catholic.
Yeah, I think West Catholic, and your good point in your summation here is that Travis Russell is really, really good.
Yeah, he got things done. He's kind of that dual threat quarterback where a lot of quarterbacks, if they're dual threats, are more of a passer. He's probably more of a runner than he is a thrower, but he's still a good throwing quarterback too.
Flint Powers and Lansing Catholic Central. Catholic Central, an 11-0 squad. Of course, some of you remember that Lansing Catholic a few years ago was really, really good. They had a Mr. Football candidate quarterback. Exactly. Now it's Central Michigan, right? So, but they're 11-0, and they are favored to win this one.
Yeah, they've been blowing people out, but if you take a look.
And this isn't the Flint Powers teams that we've seen in the past.
They've had a few losses with
8 and 3. Yeah.
So they had a lot of losses during the season, but they played a tougher schedule than Lansing Catholic.
Yeah, they were Class A schools.
Right.
That made the playoffs.
Right. Yep. So they're tested more so than Lansing Catholic.
Right.
That being said, I think Lansing Catholic's that good that they'll win out, but I think Powers will give them a trouble because Powers. I don't think Lansing Catholic will be that much better than the teams that Powers played during the regular season.
Yeah, I think Powers is going to win this one. I think it might be one of those games all of a sudden we look back, kind of like Marine City Almont, and go, what was the final score?
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, just looking at who they played and things build, and we'll see.
That's not a bad pick.
Yeah. Freeland at Menominee.
I don't know how you pick against the Maroons. They've really played well this year.
The single wing.
And they're rolling up points.
Yeah.
Freeland, I think their only loss this season was the Saginaw Swan Valley. Not a bad loss, but there's so much coming down from the Upper Peninsula that you don't know about. Well, all you know about is that program, and they're really hard to prepare for unless you're really strong up front and can disrupt that single wing offense. And I don't see that out of Freeland, so I like Menominee in this game.
All right.
Pick them by a lot?
You picked them by 13.
Yeah, that's fine.
What we're calling the main event of Division 5 is River Rouge at Almont. Almont, a team who really beat up Marine City pretty good, surprisingly so, on the road. Now they get back in home in front of the home faithful. They feel really good about this team. The whole community's going to be there. But you're taking on a scrappy River Rouge team who is proving that they don't want to be just known as a basketball school.
A couple of years ago, these teams met in the district final, and Rouge kind of had their way with Almont. I think it's going to be a little different this year. Almont, I think you talked about destiny and one of the other games. I think Almont's destined to win this game, and I'd have to look at their next opponent if I'm going to pick them again. But they're playing at home. They just beat a team that nobody thought they could beat, Marine City. They were down 7-0 in that game, come back, score the next 35 points. I think just everything points to Almont winning this game. I think it's going to be a tough trek from down in River Rouge to drive all the way up to Almont to play this game. And one thing about Rouge, too, and Corey Parker was telling me, I didn't really point it out in the article I wrote, but when they play their regular season, they really don't know how good they are because they play in a weak league. And he says, it's funny how he says, Tom, but we practice more than we play games. So we spend more time during practice getting better than we do in the games. I went, okay, that makes sense. You spend more time practicing so you can get better. So he tried to put it in those words that, okay, let's say we win 50-0. Well, that's not where you're really learning. You're learning Monday through Thursday, pointing up to that Friday. So that's how they try to base their season. He says, really, when we get into playoffs, we don't know how good we are. Obviously, they're pretty good winning their first 2-round games. But I think Almont's going to show them a thing or two, and I think, I don't know, I just like Almont in this game.
We had a good conversation with the Almont head coach on our radio show last Saturday. Yep, Jeremy Furman. It was, and you could see that he really gets it. He thinks that he's got his kids on a good program, and I think the confidence level is there, and I think that exudes down to his players. And we do want to remind you, if you want to get a reaction to at least Friday night's regional finals, we have a radio show we do every Saturday morning on CBS Sports Radio, 1270 AM. That's here in Southeast Michigan. You can listen to it there. You can listen online if you happen to be anywhere else in the state. You can go to cbsdetroit.com, find the 1270 page, and then you can listen live there, or you can download the radio.com app and find CBS Sports Radio 1270 WXYT in Detroit, and you can listen to it there. You'll be welcome to call on the show too. We'll throw out the number several times, and you can get reaction to that. All right. Yeah, we'll go 6, 7, and 8. That's next.